Welcome back to the Hive here in Atlanta, Georgia. As we hit the halftime break, we appreciate your patience as the SFL headquarters experienced some technical difficulties. We are back alongside our stat crew of Gerald Smith and Top Kiefer. Mark Lopez is with me, Michael Trillo. Mark, let's look back on that first half. As we were talking off air, turnovers killer, and that's one of the things that has led to this very low scoring game.
Yeah, absolutely killer. That's turnovers for Minnesota. Atlanta has not thrown a turnover or fumbled the ball yet. However, in takeaways that they've gotten against Minnesota, one of their issues is scoring off of those turnovers, only 3 total points. Key as well for Atlanta, they're unable to turn down or convert on third down, only 1 to 5. They need to improve that for the second half.
Biggest moment of the game, the T. DeQueen touchdown grab of 46 yards as we get back to action here in the Deep South. Atlanta trailing Minnesota 7-6, and Minnesota will get the ball first. Break into the world of sports memorabilia collecting with Breaks GPT, featuring signed football jerseys, helmets, photos, and more. Breaks GPT offers you the shot at winning autographed and authenticated sports memorabilia at a fraction of the price. Join the community of collectors on our Breaks GPT Facebook page and lock in your shot at hitting a humongous headliner on our site, breaksgpt.com. Team stats on your screen. Minnesota marginally more successful on offense. Again, 2 red zone trips for Atlanta, 2 field goals match the long touchdown for Minnesota. 2 red zone trips for Minnesota, 2 interceptions. Colin Hart, first play from scrimmage in the second half, and a huge gain up near midfield, 20-plus yards.
I mean, definitely an improvement in the running of Colin Hart from the first half. We saw him getting tackled for only 2-3 yard gains, Michael, earlier in the first half. He breaks away here thanks to some key blocking upfield by his wide receivers and tight ends.
Hart, 40 yards now on 12 carries. Before that, had been completely bottled up by this Atlanta front 7. They'll try going up the middle this time with Isaac Knox. 4, right up the middle. All right, let's go and put your coaching hat on, Mark. I want you to give each of these teams a key to the second half. What do they have to do in order to win this game?
Atlanta, convert your third downs. Minnesota, don't turn the ball over. Sounds very simple to do, but in the first half, those were their key struggle points.
Reno under pressure, gets the pass away, and a nice catch. Turning the hips back to the ball is Jay Taylor, and getting to the sticks for a first down.
A good throw out to the outside there. I guess the one key leading to not throwing turnovers, part of it is the pressure that Atlanta was pushing towards Johnny Reno on those 2 interceptions. They were really close to forcing a sack and perhaps led to those maybe wobbly passes, I'd say, but they need better pass protection as a start as well.
Pitch to the strong side, and I think Knox had a lane to the outside that he didn't see. He tried to cut it back inside and only gets 3 yards.
He did. He had the entirety of the right side of the field for himself. But as you mentioned, either he cut inside or his lineman was pushed to him and he just got caught up on his lineman.
2nd and 7. 4-man rush. Reno over the middle. And E.J. Minson makes the catch.
Wow, what a play out of that formation. I don't know about you, Michael, but when I see that kind of a formation, I always think that it's a run first, but they throw a wrinkle, make it a pass, catch the defense unawares. It's a nice quick slant route, and it's a first down again.
We've seen a couple of different plays out of that power set. We've seen the run, but we've also seen a pitch, we've seen a toss, and now we've seen a deep pass as Colin Hart picks up 2 yards on first down. How many likes do we have on this video so far? It's not enough. Smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And make sure you've got your notifications on so you don't miss a minute of SFL and SFLM action, and help the channel grow through your support. 2nd down and 8 now. Lots of movement on the defensive side of the ball pre-snap as the Swarm try and get their assignments.
You got two tight ends out there from Minnesota.
Yeah. Deezer Powell on the move. He's been quiet so far tonight. He was their best receiver in week 1, but he's not even going to get a chance because the defensive MVP so far for Atlanta, Bernard Smith, makes his 6th tackle of the game, 5 of them for loss.
Wow. 5 for loss. I mean, part of those as well are the sacks. He has been living in the backfield, has been a backfield nightmare for this Minnesota offense, forcing to line up and throw on 3rd and very long.
3rd and 11. Reno 4-man front. He has to escape. He will take off and run, but he's not going to get there. He's wrapped up by who else? Bernard Smith again. And it'll be 4th down. And for the first time this game, Mickey Melillo is going to come out to potentially attempt a field goal here.
Yeah, some good defense here.
37-yard attempt for Melillo. We've seen Sammy Steele hit from 42 earlier in this game. Wind not a factor in the dome here in Atlanta, and it's straight up and through to give Minnesota a 4-point lead.
And in the words of someone during the convention, special teams!
Yeah, special teams! Thank you, Chris
special
Allen, wherever you are. Hopefully watching this game. Atlanta is going to get their first shot on offense in the second half, and the Atlanta offense, yes, they didn't convert in the red zone, but other than that, they were just kind of inconsistent. They tried the run with BDG Hollywood, they tried Dynasty's passing, and neither of them really took off.
Yeah, and a lot of the unconverted 3rd downs were 3rd and short, 3rd and medium, where the run gets stuffed, and they couldn't convert on those. So they're going to start here in their 25-yard line. We'll see what they do in 1st down.
Split backs behind Brian Dynasty, handing the ball off to BDG Hollywood, and that looks like most of the other BDG Hollywood runs this evening. Just a 3-yard gain, 2.1 yards per carry for BDG.
Not his most efficient showing in his career, 2.1. You expect him to be more of a 3.5 at least rusher, if not a 4.0 yard rusher, but this Minnesota defense will take it.
It's Reese for 1. Without looking at the research sheet, Ramos, I would like,
Ramos.
I would like you to guess what is the average yards per carry for BDG Hollywood in his career. I will say he has the SFL's leading mark in both carries and yards and rushing touchdowns all time. He's got the lead in all 3 of them. Dynasty to pass on 3rd down. And why not? Arielet says, enough of your quizzes. I'm catching footballs.
Yeah, exactly. Enough of those quizzes. Bails them out. This is a rare 3rd down conversion on 3rd and medium. Actually had an extra lead blocker there in case she broke away. It stayed upright on the catch. But a good catch there. This is their first 3rd down conversion in a while, and they find themselves near the half field. I'll get to your quiz in a bit here.
Dynasty looking, and it's tipped and incomplete. A great defensive play by Matthew Alvarado, 2nd and 10. Going back to that 3rd down conversion mark, that was only the 2nd one of the game for Atlanta, 2 for 6 on 3rd down.
Converted 0 for 2 in the 1st quarter and 1 of 3 in the 2nd. Now they're 1 of 1 here in their I-twins formation.
Facing a 2nd and 10, Dynasty to throw again. Clean pocket down the middle, and in between the hashes, the catch is made. Fox Highwind, his 2nd grab of the evening.
2nd grab for 40 yards and 3 targets. That's his longest one so far tonight. A 21-yarder. And again, they go back to this post route that both teams actually are taking advantage of, because both defenses a little light on that middle of the field protection.
Inside the 30, and this is where Atlanta has been inconsistent all evening long. Held to 2 field goals on 2 trips down here as we see a dive up the middle. That's the first carry of the season for Mitchell O'Brien. And have you been thinking about our trivia question? BBG Hollywood's total
I'm
average yards per carry for his career?
going to put in the gas, and I'm going to lock in 3.6 yards per carry.
You are very low as Hollywood goes for one that will lower his average yards per carry. It is 4.8 yards per carry. 18,594 total yards.
I shouldn't have doubted the Hall of Fame.
Past the halfway mark of the third quarter, Dynasty moves right, throws long towards the end zone, and it's incomplete. Siege Falco looked like he had a hand on it, but a crucial intervention from Adrian Blaine keeps the Swarm out of the end zone.
That ball was rated E for everyone, as everyone almost had a touch on that ball bouncing out of the hands of perhaps every single player in the vicinity. Fortunately, not an interception, not a red zone turnover, but also, unfortunately, another field goal for Atlanta, another failed third down conversion.
Johnny Bravo also had a hand in that melee in the end zone, and a field goal is good. 3 for 3 on the night for Sammy Steele. But the Swarm still trail by 1, and you feel like field goals are not going to be enough to get Atlanta over the line tonight, Mark.
It might not be enough. We'll see, though, if their defense can pull out a huge stop and then they score again. It's been a defensive grind by both teams, and it'll be the first to force back-to-back either punts or a turnover here.
And if you're Minnesota, right, a touchdown on one of your next couple of drives could be the nail in the coffin, even though we're only in the third quarter.
Exactly. And it's a chance here with them starting at their 29-yard line for them to maybe put up a touchdown scoring drive. They haven't had one since the very first quarter.
Looking at Bryant Dynasty's numbers, 7 of 13 for 142 yards, completion percentage just at 53%. Remember last week against Albuquerque, ridiculous, 83%, 10 of 12. Tremendous drive by the Minnesota defense today, and a nice run by Colin Hart on first down as we go back to SFL headquarters for a game break.
Thank you, Torillo. Florida and D.C. Evan Carroll with the pick 6. And that is his 10th of his career, tying teammate Ryan Davidson for the most all-time in the SFL. Florida takes the lead over the Dragons 13-7 early in the fourth. Back to you in Atlanta.
Thank you, Cam. Not a lot of points to go around this evening in the SFL. 13-7 there, 10-9 here. Another run sets up a 3rd and 1. They go heavy formation. Hart looking to pick his way through, and it looks like he just got it. Got it just
At the line to gain here. Yeah, you're right. Very close games between both time slots here. 10-9, 13-7. Stark difference from yesterday's games where everything seemed to be blowouts, high-scoring affairs.
Reno, middle, one-handed catch. You didn't have to do that, Deezer Powell. I know you've been starved for attention. He does pick up 8 yards on his first catch of the day.
I mean, starved for attention might be an understatement. That was only his second target and his first catch of the evening.
He was the most targeted receiver last week for the Legend as they pick up another first down with Colin Hart. Last week, Deezer Powell, 9 catches, 203 yards with an average of 22.6 yards per catch. It's Knox getting knocked down after a gain of 5. And now Minnesota seems like they're finding their rhythm on offense. Just getting about 4 or 5 yards of play, marching down the field, taking time off the clock as we're under 2 minutes to go in the third.
Yeah, and they're doing it mostly on the ground. Reno only 3 passing attempts so far here in the third quarter.
Colin Hart again finding his mojo. Another first down for the veteran of 13 seasons.
Team's workhorse is finally getting his engines revving. And look at that, 18 carries, 69 yards, very nice. 3.8 average, that is well above the minimum requirement for a first down every single time.
I'm glad you said it because I wasn't going to. Here's Knox again, and he shows he's just as valuable as Colin Hart as he picks up a first down.
Man, the ground game has come alive for Minnesota, and a lot of it has got to do with Atlanta playing soft against these runs on first down, and it's just enough room for Knox and Colin Hart to pick up 5, 6, 7, and that time 10 yards for Knox.
And I think they've seen, right, that Minnesota can beat them deep. Reno trying to do that, and Jay Taylor on a post has a first and goal for the legend.
First and goal at a very, I'd say, medium distance of about 6 yards. We might see this being settled on the ground, which reduces the risk of another red zone turnover for Reno. How does Atlanta respond to this? It's a 5 yard to go to the goal here.
2 interceptions for Johnny Reno inside the 5 this evening. They'll go to the air, they'll go to the end zone, and it's a touchdown for Jason France. And the legend extend the lead with 8 seconds to go in the third.
That was nice and easy, nice and quick. I was hoping we get a replay of the play here. Oh yes, exactly. This one, a quick break to the inside. And underneath route, underneath the safety, a perfect positioning for France, and a perfect throw by Reno to increase their lead, potentially 8 here.
Malillo on, and he will drill the extra points, 17-9, and that is about as efficient as you can get. 10 plays, 7 runs, 3 for 3 on passes, and a touchdown, covering 3 minutes and 48 seconds.
Very good drive.
Siege Falco going to start Atlanta on their own 27. This packed out crowd here at the Hive now going to try and will their team back in it. As we'll have one more play before we hit the fourth quarter. Dynasty hands it off. And one of the better runs for BDG Hollywood tonight as he picks up 4 as we go to the final frame. 4's up. It's time for the fourth quarter here at the Hive. 17-9, Minnesota over Atlanta here on the SFL on YouTube.
The Simulation Football League is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast, retransmission, or account of the game without the express written consent of the league office is prohibited.
Michael Torello here with Mark Lopez in the booth. Gerald Smith, top keeper on stats. Cameron Irvine pushing all the buttons, bringing these SFL contest to you, and Siege Falco picks up another carry. That's a few 3rd and 3. We saw one run earlier for Siege Falco where he picked up a bunch on one of those stretch plays, but other than that, it hasn't really been working for him, and especially in the red zone, we've seen them go it a couple times and been stuffed.
Right, but 3rd and 3 here now. Can they convert here is the question. They were stuffed previously, forcing the punt earlier, or the field goal.
Hollywood the feature back, but they'll go to the air. Dynasty forced to move off his back foot, and flag flies as the pass rolls into the Minnesota bench. And it will be pass interference, our first penalty of the night, and it goes against Minnesota.
And a huge penalty, as this will be fielded at around midfield, 45-yard line of Minnesota. Huge gain off of that single penalty. Keeps the drive alive, and now a very fantastic field position for Atlanta. However, I don't think they want to settle for a field goal here, Michael.
They can't now. You can't just trade field goals for touchdowns, especially now coming down the stretch of the fourth quarter. Handoff. Hollywood. You can see he has the speed, but he's not getting the space he needs to break off those big gains.
It is a 5-yard gain, which is still very respectable. And they might line up here another run first formation here, but we've seen them throw out of run first formations often.
Has a tight end, Arielette, out there as well. On the right-hand side of that line, they'll pitch it strong. Side,
Ooh.
Falco goes nowhere. And it looks like Minnesota has figured out that formation where they put the wide receiver in the backfield.
But also, Jason Clay, credit to him making that read and with a burst of speed makes a tackle. It actually evades, sheds a block, and that allows him to make the tackle.
Dynasty takes off on 3rd and 5, and he'll pick it up. How about the ingenuity for the 3-time All-Star?
And this time, using his eyes to scan the field and see, hey, that's a red carpet for me to get the first down. Scrambles forward, picks up a run, and easy going for them. The drive is alive, baby.
Dynasty's had some happy feet in the pocket tonight, even against 4-man rushes. This is a delayed blitz, and he throws into double coverage and overthrows. Box high wind incomplete. Something about this defensive front for Minnesota has Dynasty all confused and discombobulated tonight.
Thankfully for them, he has the skills to overcome that confusion, whether it's running out of the pocket, running up into space, pick up a first down. That's what's keeping this drive alive.
He'll throw again, and a nice catch by Arielette. The tight end's been found very consistently tonight. He might be the favorite target for Bryant Dynasty so far. That's the 3rd reception for him.
Number 3, thrown for 4 times. So that's a 75% completion rate when thrown to Arielette. I wouldn't be surprised if Dynasty starts throwing to Arielette a lot more in this drive.
He's also got 51 yards, which is 2nd on the team so far. Run up the middle for not much. That was Jonathan Reese. Still getting some intermittent carries in this game. 2nd down and 10, but once again, into the red zone for the Atlanta Swarm, a place where they have struggled tonight. Have not been able to punch it in, at a loss of a yard up the middle. Alvarado bumps down Hollywood. I don't think we've given Angela Meerkat, Mark Mello, Chloe Meerkat, and Max Knight enough credit. That front 4 been putting pressure on all game long. Dynasty to the end zone. Had 2 receivers over there, but it was denied on the back end by Derek Meerkat.
Good defense right here. I do not think this is 4th down situation. Take the field goal. Trust in your defense to give your team the ball back. And hopefully, best case scenario, you have the last possession of the ball game with a touchdown.
Deal 3 of 3 along of 43. This one would be from 35 to put the Swarm within 5. It is up, it is good. 17-12. Atlanta back within a touchdown.
And now it's the defense's job to do their job and give their team the ball back here. 5 points in 6 minutes. Minnesota was very, very seemingly unstoppable in the previous drive. We'll see if they can replicate it here.
And on the game, Minnesota outgaining Atlanta by almost 100 total yards. 317 for the Legend, 224 for the Swarm. Look out outside. Here goes Minson past the 40-yard line, and he'll be run out of bounds close to midfield. Fantastic starting position for the Legend.
Very fantastic return run, establishing the outside. Breaks one tackle, and that was enough as he had blockers on the outside. Another broken tackle, and the implication here is now they're that much closer to a field goal. A field goal will put them up back to an 8-point lead, and an 8-point lead. At the pace of this game, Michael, it seems like a huge mountain to climb.
And I think Minnesota, their secondary objective on this drive is just to burn as much clock as possible with 6:40 to go. They'll
Sure.
start and split back, 3 wide receivers, 2 right, single left. Reno, an 8-step drop, will throw short over the middle for a 5-yard gain. Not really the call I would make on first down when you're up by 5.
Right. I guess they wanted to play aggressive and maybe perhaps find Atlanta, on expecting a run and then throwing and giving up a big play. But hey, it's 2nd and 5. Clock's going. They like this position.
Back in this full house formation, it will be a run. Colin Hart trying to get some blocks.
Okay.
Aquanta Shine makes the tackle. 3rd and 3 coming up.
Very, very good. So the defense now, 3rd and 3. This might make or break the game here. A key moment here for this Atlanta defense.
The crowd at the Hive getting loud behind their defense. Can they get a crucial 3rd down stop? Reno to throw. Flush from the pocket. Back across his body, and it's incomplete. The Swarm get the stop, and they will get the ball back with time to work.
No flags thrown. A clean defensive play by Atlanta. They got 5 minutes to come back to this game and potentially take the lead.
But it's going to be deep field position as Mickey Melillo, who has picked up the punting duties as well for this team, pins them back inside the 20. A great punt and great coverage down the field by the legend.
86 yards. Some of those run plays, probably not the best calls here in this drive. Those have been slow, short yardage gains and very inefficient. They might look to air it out here with split twins to start.
Dynasty 8 of 16 passing, 50% for 159 yards on the night. They will run it. Hollywood didn't really have any space to go anywhere. Just get 4 out of that. But again, with 5 minutes and a half, 3 timeouts plus the 2-minute warning, you don't have to go super aggressive here. You just got to keep picking up those first downs.
Look at the discrepancy in rushing yards. It's really what's been a struggle point for Atlanta in this game. Almost being doubled up by Minnesota. Another run play is stuffed here.
Reese doesn't get anywhere as the legend forced a 3rd and 5. The one thing you cannot do versus Atlanta is to go 3 and out after your defense got you one to get you back on the field. Dynasty looking. Sidearm throw. Oh, it's knocked away! David Leathers with the crucial intervention, and it's 4th down.
4th down here. If you punt it, punting here is going to be rough sledding as you're going to end up with way little time, even if you get the ball back. That's if you get the ball back.
And Minnesota's going to get great field position and another chance to drain the sand through the hourglass of this clock. If E.J. Minson doesn't just put the ball in the end zone himself, he'll start Minnesota in plus territory and almost about 10 yards from field goal range.
It's showing here that his average return is 11.7, but let's not forget that his kickoff returns have been pretty good as well. He started them in at the first half. He started them in midfield at some point in time, and then the incredible return in the drive prior to this. They're knocking on the door of field goal range.
Reno looking to drive the dagger in. Little screen to the wide side for T to Queen, goes for 3, but the clock keeps running.
Tick, tick, tock. This Atlanta defense, really, this is the set of downs to either force a punt, prevent the field goal. A field goal is still acceptable, I guess. 8 points is still a single score. Boy, it's just a tight game.
Minnesota going to run that clock down to 4 minutes at a runway-sized hole up the middle for Colin Hart. Sets up 3rd and short.
Perfect blocking. especially in the second level as their center gets up there. And that's just enough room for the 6-yard pickup. Look at this here. Defense, can you stop this play?
3rd and short, hand off, Knox.
Oh!
They stopped him! Needed 2, got 1 as Jeff Spicoli comes up with the stop. Now let's see, are Minnesota in field goal range? No.
Ooh.
They're punting this one away. So Atlanta's defense holds 2 straight times. Melillo puts that one in. Oh, a dangerous fair catch by Siege Falco. If he coughs that one up, it's fair game, but he does put Atlanta on their own 15-yard line.
Yeah, credit to Mickey here with these punts that are pinning them inside the 20. Accurate punts that aren't, bouncing into the backfield and it just out of bounds at the minimum. Very good punting.
Game's got to hinge on the arm of Dynasty now. 3:10 to go. Bryant looking, flushed out of the pocket. It's intercepted!
No!
He tried to throw it to the safety valve, and it's picked off by Max Knight. The defensive tackle may have just sealed the game for Minnesota.
There was no safety valve. There was a defensive tackle playing safety. What a great interception. That's a hammer on the nail. Already in scoring range here. And oh my goodness, what a defensive play and what a pressure by that Minnesota D-line.
That is incredible. Minnesota, after 2 3-and-outs, Colin Hart with a spin inside the 5.
Man, still can't get over the D-line interception. Siege Falcon in the chat saying he's seen that result many times in the film room. I tell you what, I've seen that several times across many teams, and it's a pleasure to see it happen in the real game. What a play by your defense.
Minnesota looking to wrap this up by punching it in. Knox through a crowd of bodies. 3rd down and inches. And a huge shout out to Max Knight, the first interception in his career.
Congrats.
After an 8-season career, an all-star in season 22, 221 total tackles, and now add an interception onto that. Long hold in the power run formation. Hart looking, diving touchdown, Minnesota. And the legends say night night to the Atlanta Swarm as it's now 23-12.
Beautiful run by Colin Hart. There was a tackler incoming, but he got a key block to seal that tackler, would-be tackler to the outside, cuts in, sneaks in for the easy touchdown. And Minnesota, reminiscing last week's game, they didn't want to have another close loss. They're going to take it in their own hands and win here by 12. Potentially.
I mean, still 2 minutes left, but Atlanta, the offense just has not been clicking tonight. They've had 2 opportunities to potentially tie or take the lead in this game. Yes, those opportunities were deep in their own zone, but you go 3-and-out once and then throw an interception on your other attempt. Under 300 total yards to this point for the Atlanta Swarm. Just a terrific defensive performance for Minnesota tonight.
Absolutely. Some credits as well on the last touchdown to Robert Henson Jr. with a key block.
2-minute warning. Atlanta now down 2 scores, needing some sort of miracle to get back in this one. This is the Simulation Football League on YouTube. Michael Chileno and Mark Lopez talking you through this one. Appreciate your company this evening through a exciting yet defensive first half, a extended halftime break as Dynasty goes to the air and tipped and almost picked again. Thank you for sticking with us, of course, through the technical difficulties that extended out our halftime break, and then Minnesota pulling away here in the second half through more terrific defense.
And also the clutch gene of Reno and company to finally put points on the board when it mattered most.
Second and 10. Clock stopped, minute 54. Dynasty throws incomplete. Not sure he was looking for there. We've got more action coming up later tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern, about 15 minutes from now. Chris Curtis and Mike O'Neill have all the action as the LA Lycans, who barely missed an upset chance against Arizona at the convention last week, play Louisiana, who are looking to rebound as well after a week 1 loss to Mexico City. That one's down the numbers and caught by Fox Highway. Timeout Atlanta. Then in the 9:15 nightcap, it's Charleston and Chicago. The Warriors looking to get on the board for the first time in the SFL Major League. First and 10, Dynasty pumps and throws a pick. This one could be going all the way back. Oh, they'll stop it inside the 20. But another huge defensive play for the legend. Adrian Blaine's been fantastic tonight. A couple of touchdown-saving deflections, and now she's got an interception.
Adrian Blaine, she's been all over the field. 7 total tackles, 2 of them for a loss. That 1 interception to go with 2 additional pass deflections, as you talked about. And look at this, Bryant Dynasty, last 10. That interception plus the other one 4 plays ago. It's been a rough night for Brian and company.
Minnesota with Colin Hart can just run this one out as Atlanta burning their final timeouts. Tomorrow, Kevin Irvine and Mike St. Green join them at 7:15 p.m. Eastern as SFL This Week returns before Baltimore hosts Indianapolis on this week's Monday Night Spectacular right here on SFL YouTube. Another handoff. Hart's first down inside the 10. And I wanted to get your perspective on something, Mark. We've got Chicago coming up in the next block, and of course, Albuquerque, Pittsburgh, Lexington all playing earlier this week. What are your thoughts on the new crop of SFL teams coming in this year from the minor leagues?
It's interesting because half of this new crops of SFL teams, some of them have picked up older teams, at least a majority of those rosters. For example, Lexington picking up at least a majority of the former Seattle team. So that's an almost same look for them, almost like a rebrand, but for some of the others like Albuquerque, Nashville, who are building their team up from scratch, it's going to be an interesting watch to see how they grow as a team in futures and beyond. It'll be a struggle to get wins in this very first season for them, but it's still an interesting thing that we have those new teams to join us in the league.
And into that point, right, we saw Atlanta last week blow out Albuquerque. This week, unable to replicate that against Minnesota, who has been a very short-lived team in this league, only their 5th season, but has been a very consistent team in this league. 3 seasons making the playoffs out of the first 4.
And every single time they lost their first week, which is the only time last season, they went to the playoffs with a 10-2 record. So things are looking up Minnesota.
Atlanta hasn't been over 500 since season 20, but that was the last time that they started the season 1-0. So potentially things looking up for this Atlanta Swarm squad as well. They made the playoffs last year going 6-6, a Swarm team that has been up and down throughout their history as a franchise. Of course, their high point, the season 14 champions. But tonight, it's Minnesota's night, and especially on defense as they win this one 24-12. Mark, your final thoughts on a game that pretty much had it all.
I mean, I think you already mentioned everything I wanted to say. It was a game that was won with defense. Especially you look at the performance of Adrian Blaine leading the defense with her interception, deflections, tackles for losses all over the field, contributing to limiting BDG Hollywood to get this 2.4 yards per carry. Mitchell O'Brien only 2 yards per carry, really only had one attempt for 2 yards. That run defense was stout, and it started Adrian Blaine. If I had the game ball to give, it would be to her.
Not to mention Bernard Smith for Atlanta, 10 tackles, 2 tackles for loss and a sack. He did everything in his power to try and keep Atlanta in this game, as the Minnesota offense really didn't impress until late on when that rushing attack really got going, right? Colin Hart, almost 100 yards on the ground and a touchdown. Isaac Knox, 53 yards as well. But most of that was in the second half. We went into halftime, Mark, thinking, well, this game might end, 10-8, but eventually it picked up.
It did pick up mostly by Minnesota. They picked up slack offensively, putting up some nice scores at key moments, and especially making sure that a turnover scores them a point. That is the thing that Atlanta didn't have in the first half, Michael. They had 2 picks, but they could only score 3 points from those 2 turnovers. Minnesota immediately took advantage of the first interception of Brian Dynasty.
That'll do it for us here from the Hive. Once again, your final score, the Minnesota Legend 24, the Atlanta Swarm 12. Both teams now 1-1. For Gerald Smith and Top Keeper on Stats, Cameron Irvine producing in the studio, Mark Lopez alongside me. My name is Michael Torello. This may be the only time you'll hear me on the SFL airwaves this season. So thank you very much for joining me tonight. We'll see you next time. Stay tuned for the 9 o'clock block. We're out.